Even though I'm a devil's advocate for bullet journaling, maybe it's time for a change. Staying a diehard fan of bullet journaling will keep me at the same place that I love and is very comfortable. But if I see something new that can benefit my life, I should maybe give it a try, even though if I break the status quo of what I believe in. On New Year's Eve 2023, I got this book, Build a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. On 24th January, I finished reading it. A few months prior to getting the book, I actually heard about building a second brain, but I was somehow skeptical about it and didn't really pay that much attention, so I stayed within my pen and paper world. But then I got a whole book about it from a good friend of mine, so yeah, let's give it a try. As I went through first chapters, I still was quite unsure about it because the author was selling it way too much. I had this feeling of this just feels as a lot of talk but without evidence. As I was approaching the very end of the book, I just gave it a try, why not? So I was already using Notion at the time, so I used that to implement the para folder structure, and I started just with a project folder to keep it simple. And then I added the rest as I went with the flow. So for example, I had this page of error codes from our washing machine, and so that is not really a project but rather a resource, so I just created a resource folder and then put this information in there. I already had all kind of notes within Notion, and to my surprise, it really clicked when I was sorting all that into the para folder system. To this date of recording this video, I've been using it for about 3 or 4 weeks, and this is how I feel about it. I think it really fits people who are project oriented, love planning, and doing research. I personally find the system very useful because I swim in so many projects. And every day I get so many crazy ideas as well as thoughts that I would otherwise lose. So having this reliable system where I can store and then easily find information is something that really changed my way of approaching digital note-taking. What Tiago did for all of us is solving the problem of organizing digital notes. He identified 4 main classes of such notes, as he describes in the book. When he tried to organize his notes based on type, it led him to dead ends. So instead, he proposed to think about the action you can do with the information. Isn't that brilliant? I fell in love with the para system. Welcome to my life library, my first attempt to use a digital tool like Notion to organize my life. And as I promised, we're gonna dive into the second brain. As you can see, there are also other sections, but those ones will be for later videos. So as I said earlier, I kept it very simple. So here we have 4 or 5 pages: the projects area, resource, and archive, the para. Let's briefly go through each of the folder and its meaning. The inbox, that's where I store anything, everything when I'm on the go, so I don't need to stress myself too much about what that notes mean. Does it belong to projects or area? Just put that into inbox and then sort it later. In projects, I store the information and keep track of all the projects that I'm currently working on. In the past, it was rebuilding studio, for example, where I had all the links to eShops, different images from Pinterest, etc. In area, I store the information about topics that I am long-term interested in, like health, finances, family. In the resource, I store information that might be useful in the future, like a recipe for my favorite pizza or bread, as well as error codes for my washing machine or K-dramas I want to watch in the future. And the archive is for all the information that is not relevant anymore, but might be in the future. So it's better to archive it rather than delete it. And if I open the project, it's another page with the inline database. Nothing really complicated. I really started lean because we don't want to overcomplicate the whole beginning of starting building something like a second brain. So each of those here are basically the entry in the database, and then I also added it was already there, the type column. Each entry should have an assigned type, and based on that it will appear in all those other pages. So here I have the archive, resources, area, and projects, again the para. So now if I'm done with the Christmas gifts in 2024, I would just choose archive here. It will disappear from the projects. And now if we get back to the live library overview, we can go to archives and see this Xmas 2024 gift here. So this is the way how you can move all your knowledge in between. And if I open our gift note, then this nice panel will slide from the right and we can just directly edit the content in there. So here I got some note about the really nice tea boxes in one of the coffee shops in the city center. And so this is basically the basic setup. And if we got back to the inbox, let's make a new entry here about how I love my audience. Right now it is not having an assigned type, thus is in the inbox. But now when I get to actually sort my inbox, I can now just say, okay, this is rather a project. Okay, so it's gonna be a project, done. And then I would just find it later on in the projects. And so this is why it is so nice actually using Notion for building a second brain. So stored information, as you could see, was really simple and smooth in Notion. Now let's look into searchability. I'm gonna hit the Ctrl-K command on my keyboard and just type, let's say that I want to find that note about how I love you. So I'm just gonna go with how I love, and you can see that it just pops in the very first place. Click on that and I'm suddenly on the page where now I can write the note about why I love you. So yeah, you get the idea. Setting up this whole parastructure folder in Notion took me around 5 minutes. If I want to improve it, I can always do that on the go. So don't overcomplicate your start, just go with the flow. When I have spark of an idea or see something worth remembering and I'm not sitting at my computer, I just use my iPhone and the Smooth Notion app, and there I just make the entry in the inbox folder. And then when I happen to have a little time, like being in a queue in supermarket, I just open not Instagram that I used to do, but actually the inbox to sort the entries to respective folders. The key idea of Tiago in implementing the second brain into your life is not to schedule a day or full weekend to organize all your thoughts and notes, but rather do it incrementally, one by one, slowly building the habit into your life. I think many people can get stuck in the very beginning, searching for the best ultimate tool to build their second brain. But what I think they should be searching for instead is how to improve their current habits and systems in their life to leverage such tools. Nothing is perfect in life. Am I giving up bullet journaling? Never. Nothing can replace that feeling of your thoughts being transferred into the real physical world. But am I more efficient with digital notes and knowledge? Absolutely yes. As much as I love pen and paper, having a second brain in a digital world was inevitable because of today's world. That's how it is. So we have two choices. We either adapt or die with dinosaurs. So seek improvement, my friends, and I will see you later.